Yeehaw, folks. It's time to do some math. Disgusting, I know, but someone's gotta do it. So, a problem. We have a problem here. What do we know about this problem? Well, we know that angles in a triangle add up to 180. Yeah, that might make no sense, whatever I just wrote, but yeah. We also know that this angle here is 130. This angle here is the one that we want to find, and that all these angles here are congruent. So to solve this problem, we're first going to want to find the measure of all the angles inside this little triangle here. So if we know that all the angles add up to 180, and we know that this angle is the same as this angle, then 180 minus this 130 minus 2 times the measure of this angle. We can't call that x since that's already x, so I'll just call it y, equals 0. Or 130 plus 2y equals 180. Jeez. My apologies, folks. So to solve this easy equation, you're going to subtract 130 from both sides, and 180 minus 130 equals 50. Divide this by 2 to get y by itself, and y equals 25. So now we know that these little angles here each equal 25, but we also know that these angles equal these angles, so these angles are also 25. Now, how do we find x? Well, we look at the angles of this bigger triangle here, and we see that the angles of the bigger triangle are just these side angles added together. So because this is 25 and this is 25, and then this is also 25 and this is also 25, the measure of this big angle is going to be 25 plus 25 on both sides, or 50. So let me just, oops, never mind. It's going to be 50. So now we know again that the measures of all the angles inside a triangle equal 180. So 50 plus 50 plus x equals 180. We can combine like terms. So 50 plus 50 is 100 plus x equals 180. Now to get x by itself, we subtract 100 from both sides, and we are left with x equals 80. To check our work, we can just add all the numbers back up. 50 plus 50 plus 80 equals 100 plus 80 equals 180. So that means that shows us that the numbers for this bigger triangle check out. And then 25 plus 25 plus 130 equals 50 plus 130 equals 180. So those numbers check out. Well, sorry about that, folks. That seemed to be a bit messy here. I will try to fix that for this next problem, which we have here. Same concept. Oof, there we go. Now we can actually see. So, we are only given the measure of this angle right here. Oh no. There we go. This angle right here, which is 35, and this angle right here, which is 40. The angle we want to find is right here, x. Now, it doesn't give us the measure of any other angles. However, it does tell us that these sides here are congruent, with these little marks, and that these sides here are also congruent with these little marks. And so we know that these triangles are isosceles. And what we know about isosceles triangles is that is that the base angles, or the angles opposite of, this other angle here that's marked by the two congruent lines, those angles are going to be congruent. So that means for this little triangle that this, little angle on the right is congruent to this little angle on the left. And it also means that for this bigger triangle, this angle here is going to be equal to this angle here. So to find the angle measures of this triangle, we're going to have to work in the opposite direction that we did for the first problem. We're going to have to start by finding the measures of the angles of the bigger triangle here, and then working our way to the smaller one. So we know that 40 is the measure of this top angle here, and we know that this angle here is congruent to this angle here. We also know that the measures of all the angles in the triangle equal 180. So we know that 180 equals 40 plus this angle, this big angle, plus this angle. And we'll just call that y again since we already have x. So 2 times y. To solve for y, we'll subtract 40 from both sides. 40 minus 40 is 0. 180 minus 40 is 140. Then we're going to divide both sides by 2. And we now know that 70 equals y. So the big giant angles both equal 70 degrees. And since we know that this angle here, let me make it nice and bright, is 35, we can subtract 35 from 70 to get the measure of this angle, which is actually 35, because 35 is half of 70. And so now that we know that this angle here is 35, that is so hard to see. 35. We'll also know that this angle here is 35 because this triangle is isosceles. Now, as we just found out, 35 plus 35 is 70. So we know that the measure of these two angles is 70. So we know that 180 minus 70, because all the angles in a triangle add up to 180. So we know that 180 minus 70 will equal x, and x equals 110. Oops. There you go.